Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Donna Alamonte Morris, here with the nigga Joe, aka Teach, and with Beast Johnson. How's everybody doing?
Doing
Doing
very
good today.
well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Speaking of fairly well, last show was pretty tense, so hopefully we can bring the degrees down just a little bit. So today's show, we're going to talk about racism for profit. How we're not profiting off our own. Sorry, I'm hearing some noise in the background. Uh, that's. But other than that, y'all know what the deal is. Opening statement. Teach, lead us on through. Once I get everything straight over here. Sorry, Chief. That was the wrong one. I'm gonna do it again.
Nangadef, good evening, everyone. I had a wonderful experience today. I reconnected with my old friend slash supervisor slash superwoman. I had not seen her since the 80s, and it was just a wonderful time. Time spent very well for the Habitat for Humanity. It was a luncheon fundraiser, and I was glad to be a part of it. One of the things that come to my mind, in order to have friends, you must first show yourself to be friendly. And me and this lady, we had a two-person department, and it was she and I, and we did some wonderful things. And as I look back over my life, it was that foundation in that two-person department that really have formed and shaped my experiences since that time. And that's, like I said, it was been over 30 years. But we reconnected today at the luncheon as if no time had ever passed by. And I was blessed. There was a raffle, and I actually won a genuine Michael Kors purse. But I'm just happy when you can reconnect with your past and be refreshed. My friendship with her was refreshed today. My spirit was enlivened because of good work ethics. You never know the impact that you make on people. But she and I, we had a very good impact on each other, that we reconnected through Facebook. And over the years, from time to time, we would call one another just to say hey, to see how you're doing, to see where we are in our careers. And it's just amazing how we both have grown and commanded our lives. We empowered ourselves through education. We empowered ourselves with networking and getting out to know other people. And I remember when I was working under her, she was my supervisor, that I was actually recruited to the upper portions of Michigan because our reputation just went out, because she and I was doing such a fantastic job, even such that the college that we were working for, we actually worked to raise funds for special projects. That was actually the name of our department. And we raised so much money at the time that there were three Catholic universities in our city that decided to do a merger because they were all struggling financially. But because of the monies that was raised in our department, our college was able to stand alone, and the other two colleges went ahead and formed the merger. So having that up under our belt, I believe she thought she could fly, and I believe I thought I could fly too. And since then, we have been flying throughout the world, empowering people to be their best. And the name of the luncheon was the Women Who Inspire. And I had the opportunity to bring my mother with me because if you all know my mother is another powerhouse. And I put a post on Facebook and people say, oh, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I'm happy today to reconnect with my past, evaluating it and seeing how it actually launched me into being the woman that I am today. Make the most of every situation. You never know how you're impacting the people that you work with and how that person can be a friend and lend a hand to you in your life at any point in time. And with that, that's my opening statement.
Good evening, one and all. Since we're talking about racism for profit, which kind of put a evil smile on my face, and no, it's not because it's October and it's Halloween season. It's kind of a funny personal subject to me. It just reminds me of what I stated earlier about the devil's deal. Being able to understand and use the negative to make a positive. In other words, finding the demons that are worth keeping around and making them pay rent. Quite simple. This is basically what we're talking about today. The devil's deal is always something that people know of, but think about the actual logic and principle of it. It's something that can be used for a very holy and divine purpose. Sometimes it takes a little hell to get to heaven. So as we, have this discussion, keep that in mind. A good example is comedy and how stereotypes of racism are often broke down through the art of levity and humor. I myself do it all the time. I will quick to tell you that I'm an equal opportunity racist, meaning it's no matter how I personally feel towards any race, I will talk shit and say something racist about all races, including my own. I'll be the first to talk shit about my own race. So it's nothing if you hear me talk shit about another race. But the same level and intensity of shit that I talk and racism that I might spew is balanced by the same amount of love that I have for every and all races. I don't care who the fuck you are, what color you are. I judge you as a human and how you carry yourself, handle yourself as you. Your skin color is maybe in the top 15 of the things that I personally find wrong with you. And that's maybe. It's case by case thing. So that's just me personally, but I'm rambling now. Point is, the devil's deal is an art to using racism for profit. And I hope we get a chance to truly delve into this subject and showcase what the white man been doing to us and how we can use it to our benefit. And that's my opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, my final thought is based on the last show, where I want to say this to each and every one of y'all. You have the power to change your surroundings. Now, no disrespect to our other panelist, Seepaway. If y'all tuned into or at least watched the previous show that we had, it was on YouTube. I don't believe in going to Africa. I don't believe in going back. Why? Because we've done enough here to keep it going. And it just based upon that, but also voting. If anybody tells you not to vote, they're idiot. They're stupid. They're dumb. They're ignorant, uneducated. Now, you got some out there that will say it, but they're not educated on it. But then you got people that just say it because they're not educated. But there's a distinct difference. On this show, I welcome, and also my panel, welcome all different sides of the spectrum. Just because we give them a platform to say what they want to say does not distinctly mean that we agree with them. This goes for me. This goes for Teach. It goes for Seepaway. It goes for B. Johnson. But they do have a freedom and a platform so they can be heard and be listened to. But for this instance, I'm going to have to put my foot down and tell each and every one of y'all have the power to change what is going on in your community right now. And don't let nobody tell you differently. You know the reason why this country is in the way that it is right now? You won't believe it. It's because of you. Yes, it's because of you. For those who love it and for those who hate it. And even mainly for those who just say, it is what it is, who just didn't vote at all. You believe it or not, it is your fault. You just can't keep sitting in a peanut gallery, screaming, yelling, you need this, you need that. If this was me, I would do this, I would do that. And then when your name is called, you sit down. You put your hands up and you like, no, not me. I'm gonna sit this out. If you don't do nothing for your community and you just sit on the sidelines and just bitch, moan, complain, and don't vote, you are just as worthless as the issues you are spewing out your mouth. In the words of James Brown, you talking loud and you saying nothing. So for all those who sit there and say don't vote, after this election, no matter who wins, I don't want to hear you bitch, moan, complain, or anything like that. If you're not actually putting in the work in your community to actually groom young people or renting politicians to push your issues through legislation to actually impact your community, shut the hell up. I'm sick and tired of hearing people justifying why they're not voting. Oh, there's 513 electorates and da, da, da. I don't give a damn. That's our biggest problem. Every time we hear voting, you think presidential, you think federal. Well, I'm talking about voting, when teachers talking about voting, when other people talk about voting, they're talking local. Did you know you can vote on policies on the ballot too? You probably didn't know that. If you hate those damn laws of, let's say, if you got to pay an extra tax on gum or anything like that, if you don't like that, that is in the that is on the ballot. You can vote on that. Yay or nay. Yes or no. But see, y'all wouldn't know that because y'all caught in this whirlwind of everybody who sit there and know everything about voting and saying that it doesn't work. And you forget there's a thing called local election. Like that one deputy that pulled you over for absolutely no reason, he's running for sheriff. His name is on the ballot. And if you don't go vote him from not being the sheriff, guess what? He will have a lot of people that's going to vote him in. And you will have absolutely no reason to bitch, moan, or complain if you don't go and vote. Don't think of it on the presidential level, which I'm going to talk about there in the middle of the show. But think local. Think of the things that's right there, far within reach. Think of the policies that your Liebermans, your legislative congressman got set, or your mayor got set, that they want to vote on. That's going to affect you and your family, and maybe your family. So for those who's out there preaching don't vote, you're the reason why this country is fucked up as it is. And that right there is going to be my final thought. I do have a special announcement for each and every one of y'all. And then we're going to jump into the show. I got that commercial ready right now. And we will be right back. Mr. Jones's name. So, ladies and gentlemen, this segment is presented by RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. What's been RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. Who got something going on in the background?
I do. It's my mother.
Oh, she right there loud and everything.
She's having a quite spirited conversation.
Yeah. But other than that, so today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be about racism for profit. Now, this has been bothering me a lot. That we're the only culture, we're the only group of people that does not profit from our accolades. Like, for example, first of all, congratulations to the LA Lakers. I'm not a big Lakers fan, but congratulations. They won it. They won it for Kobe Bryant. They did
it needed to happen. You know,
yeah.
It needed to happen.
Yeah. So
I'm not happy certain people got rings off of it, but it needed to happen for the city.
For the city, and then also for Kobe Bryant. For me, for anybody who watched my shows when I was doing the unrehearsed podcast with my boy Branch, I always said I was a Kobe hater, big time hater. But even for us haters, when we got the news that he passed away, it hit me some type of way. I was like, yo, I felt like I lost a brother or uncle or best friend. I don't care what anybody said. It hit you some type of way. But with me saying
it's a difference too, man. Like that most people hate on that. Oh, I hate him for superficial bullshit reasons. Like most people that feel the way you feel like that, like I felt the same way. I respectfully hate him. I have a gentleman's hate for this man. I don't agree with him. I don't particularly like him on certain fashions or forms, but he's still a human being. And if something bad were to happen, I would feel remorse.
Right. And I felt like everybody, including my good friend of mine up in Seattle, who's a diehard Kobe fan, I even told him, I said, man, I never did like Kobe, but when I heard that he passed away, I almost wanted to come to tears. My girlfriend even cried too. But what I'm saying is, with that, how much is everybody getting? I'm gonna use Megan Thee Stallion for example. I think I'm gonna get off the sports for a little bit. Like Megan Thee Stallion, she's becoming a sensation. She already got a dance craze all over TikTok, all over YouTube, all over social media. Let's be for real. But she's more. But let me check out her network. Let me look at Megan Thee Stallion's network.
I could tell you, I could safely assume her actual net worth, and it probably ain't that much because she got a 360 deal. So all this exposure that she's getting, since she has a 360 deal, it's safe to say she didn't have anyone in her corner smart enough to be able to get some kind of monetary back pay for all this exposure through the different media streams and sites, because that's possible.
Beast Johnson, you are exactly right. But I'm gonna let you guess. How much do you think her net worth is?
I say half to $250,000.
Close. $3 million. $3 million.
That's actually more than I was just being respectful. That's actually more.
$3 million.
But compared to what everything is going on and the public persona, it should be at least twice, if not 3 times that much.
Right. And that is my biggest issue where, like I said, everything that Black people touches, it turns into platinum, not gold, platinum. And you got people that don't look like us. Let's keep it real. White folks that come up with well, actually, I won't say that come up with dances. They actually just taking like the renegade dance. A young little Black girl created that dance, but it took the white girl who mocked it and made it a global sensation. And she's making all this sort of money going through doing these deals, going on television shows. And then it took us, the Black media, to realize like, oh, she's the one that created it.
Well, you know, the problem is,
what's that?
Since we talking about racism and profiting off of racism, the true problem is we as Blacks are not thinking outside of the box. Like we're expecting to make money off of things that they already primarily make money off of us for. So in order for us to truly make money, we got to step outside the box and really put ourselves out there. Like musically speaking, look at me. I'm a rapper, but I also play bass and I know how to rock the fuck out. So I can get into a rock band and I can sing those type of songs as well. That's more money for me, and you definitely would expect to see this type of face.
Right.
Get on the stage like that. That like, I'm using that to my advantage.
Right.
People see that, they're definitely going to change their racist thoughts and in turn increase my profit.
Right. And I remember you was talking about Master P. It was a couple shows ago. You said you respected that man because he's thinking outside the box. I even watched the documentary. I don't know, T, did you see the documentary? All right, so
no, I did not.
Yeah, so it was a recent documentary on Master P's record label called No Limit Records, where when they was releasing like 26 albums in just that 1 year, 26. I'm probably exaggerating the number, but I knew it was over 20 albums that he released in that 1 year. All of them went at least gold. I think half of them went platinum, just about.
A good chunk of them went platinum because he did it throughout roughly almost a dozen artists, including himself.
Yeah.
At different artist variations, like him by himself, him as a group, then the group with other people. So like he was able to, like, he was very smart about how he spaced it out.
Yeah, and then not to mention on his own, separate from the music part of it, he started his own sports agency. He went to the NBA. Then nowadays he has his own cell phone. He had his own cereal, own rice, noodles, chips. And he said the reason why he did is because he's thinking long term. He's not thinking short term. He said, I want this for my next generation. And
he's investing in necessities, not luxuries.
Right. And he said one thing, and I saved it on my Instagram. It was one post that he said about people sit there and whine, complain, and he said a product don't say nothing. It will sit there and it will sell. And that even tripped out Snoop Dogg. He said, man, I never even thought about that. You're right. A product don't say nothing. The product will sit there. It will sit there until somebody buys it. And I was like, man, that makes sense. Tupac's talking about me. Master P to me is like the holy grail to how you profit off the community. But I want to get Teach's perspective on it. So I'm going to go back to Megan Thee Stallion. Mega Stallion is a sensation. I don't know. You probably heard something about that. I know you probably heard that one song, that WAP. I know you probably heard that song, but
yeah, I heard about the WAP, but I never heard the WAP.
I just love the response. I heard about the WAP, but I ain't never heard the WAP.
So my question just because mainly when you have like a big sensation, it's really circled around Black women. Let's be for real. When Black women, anything that they rap about, they sing about, dance, it's a sensation. Like it's like everybody gotta get in on it. Why do you think that we don't get that much? I won't say we, but like Black women don't get that. Number one, get that much accolades, don't get that much profit, or basically just get the respect that they deserve. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, I'll have to bring it back to ourselves. One, we do not believe ourselves. We do not trust ourselves, and we shortchange ourselves. So think about Berry Gordy. He was a trendsetter in loving yourself, creating a platform for yourself, and really pushing and believing in himself. And when I say himself, he was at a critical place in the market where racism shut all of the Black artists out. But he said, hey, I'm going to start my own record company, and I'm going to push and believe in my own self, meaning people that look like him. So he blazed a trail that allowed other trails to be blazed. So we have, because of the conditioning in this country, whenever there is another interest, they're looking at, wow, that's hot, that's a money maker. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to exploit this money because I want a piece of it. She's making it. She has the ability to make it. If I attach myself, open up doors, then I get a piece of this particular pie. But as Black people, we like, I don't have the money. I don't know what to do. We don't think. And we don't popularize. And that's why Berry Gordy was successful, because he popularized the Motown sound. He took it upon himself. If you know the history of it, he took $500 and made Motown. He didn't think about, oh, I don't have $1 million to make a label. He said, I'm going to take this $500 and make it work. So sometimes I think I mentioned one time in my history when I did my festival and it broke me, I put everything into it. And the next year I was kind of discouraged. And one of my partners said, even if you don't have the money, do it anyway. And at that time, it sounded like foolish talk to me. If you don't have no money, ain't nothing happening. But what he was saying is, you put forth the energy and the effort, and the universe will answer you. The universe will bring you everything you need to be successful. So in other words, remove the blocks from your own mind, remove the blocks from your own thinking, and dive into it and make it happen. If Berry Gordy would have said, well, you know, I need $1 million for a building, I need another, $10,000 or what, I'm just throwing numbers out, to pay the singers, to pay the band, if I need this, that, and the other, all those are blocks to progress. So he said, I got this $500, I'm gonna make it work. when we sell this album, we can pay these bills later. We'll pay the bills on the back end. But for right now, we're going to get these talent. We're going to groom the talent. We're going to, I think, was it plastic? We're going to burn this plastic, the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to burn the vinyl and we're going to get it out there in the streets and people are going to buy it. So it's the way you think about it, the way you go about business will depend on how successful you are in that business. If you always think that you can't, or think that there's a rule or a regulation that'll prevent you from doing things, you're right there. You're stuck behind that gate and can't get out because it's all in your mind. But as a race, we have issues. We have issues. If we had if this young lady was doing well and we decided to just pass the plate, starting with the church, they'll say, oh, we don't, condone secularism. If you go just around the neighborhood, well, my little Johnny can sing too. So what you doing with your little Johnny? She's here now. She needs our support. Can we get 10 investors to put up the money to make something happen? They gonna steal my money. I ain't giving them no money. Because what? We don't trust each other. We don't trust ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's something fundamentally that has to be worked on within the African American community. Historically, why don't we trust ourselves?
Yeah, I'm about to ask that.
Because depending on which region of Africa you were in, you were kidnapped by somebody that looked like you. You were sold. You was marched in land by someone that looked like you. So they look like and you want to trust, but you put the shackles on my wrist. I don't even know it's white people until I get to the boat. But these 1,000 miles or 500 miles that I was trekked from my home in my village, I was trekked by somebody that looked like me and you. So that trust was eroded, and it hasn't regained. It has not been regained. That's one of the things that psychologically we have to work on. Being trustworthy, showing ourselves to be trustworthy, because you just simply can't give away your trust.
That's true.
But they have to be found trustworthy.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I always think trust is like a form of currency that is not currency, because somebody's trust can be used, for good, or it can be taken for granted, and somebody's gonna get screwed over in the process. But yeah, true. Cheech, you brought up a lot of points about that. My biggest issue is for some reason when you was explaining all that, I was thinking about the Jackson 5 for some reason, because their dad, he used to rest his soul, Joe Jackson, even though he whipped their ass. Good grief.
That was necessary. Yeah. I may be the only person that agrees.
I agree with you. You got that many kids. A stern talking to is not going to work.
Yeah, he whipped their ass. I mean, whoo, even the girls too. Even though the mama, I forgot her freaking name. I forgot her mama. Oh my God. Catherine
Jackson.
Now, Catherine, if anybody ever saw the movie The Jackson 5, how she had to step in and she was like, hey, you ain't gonna be hitting the girls like that. Now that's when he had to, calm it down. Like, you could do that to the boys, but then you're not gonna.
They tough, goddammit. They boys, they can take it.
Yeah, but then I think
what people don't realize, one, Joe Jackson was old school. In his day, he understood what a man was. A man had a vision. He had a vision for his wife when he impregnated with her all those children, and he had a vision for each one of those children. And it was his guidance that made them be the people that they are today.
Right. And I was
So,
about to circle around that point. Yeah.
yeah, he made them be. And that's what parents are supposed to do. Recognize the gift and talent that God gave them and mold and shape that talent, that talent may give them their livelihood. That's what Joe Jackson did.
Yeah.
Many people would be better off had they had a father that had a vision. I know plenty of singers. This one man, he could just whistle and it just put you in all kind of moods and everything. He could go there, but he didn't have the ability to push himself, and he didn't have anybody around him to push him. Yeah. So he just the average Joe that has a doggone angelic voice. Mm-hmm. So Joe Jackson molded and shaped the talent that they had. Had he not been there, they would have been on the street corners, singing, sounding melodious. Oh, yes, that's a girl down the street. She sound good. But because he had a vision to make them be somebody in their life, in their own life.
That's true.
It's just like making a cake. You got to put the ingredients in just right to get that cake. If you put it in differently, you're going to get something else.
Yeah.
But he put success in them, and what are they? Successful.
I think one comedian, I think it was Eddie Griffin, and I'm laughing about it. Eddie Griffin, he said, like, everybody talking about how Joe Jackson whipped the kid's ass, whipped Michael Jackson's ass like he won't nothing. Shit, I want a dad that whipped me into success. I was like, that makes sense.
Like T said, when it comes to making a cake, you got to mix the right ingredients. But also, some of those ingredients need to get beaten.
That's true.
Whether briskly, thoroughly, aggressively. A beating is necessary for the mixing of a proper, delicious baked delicacy. So discipline is very necessary to make a functional, competent, proficient human being. You got to let them know that discipline is teaching them that, hey, this life is rough. Mm-hmm. But make sure, if nothing else, I am the worst thing that this life could ever do to you. When you get out there, you should be able to respond and say, my daddy hit me harder than that. Or my mama said worse to me.
Listen to the adults that were not disciplined. Listen to what they tell their therapists.
Exactly.
They have issues, childhood issues. Listen to the adults that were disciplined. They also have childhood issues. So whether you got a lot of discipline or a little bit of discipline, as adults, you have issues. And that is life. The issues that you have in your life are God-given. And these issues are things that you must overcome during your lifetime.
That's true.
Which also teach. There's a difference. Those adults that were disciplined versus those that weren't. Those that were, yes, we have issues, but we can laugh about them and find kinship with others on it. You ever just randomly get on the subject of talking about getting whoopings, and then it becomes a game of, nah, man, I got it worse. Nah, man, I got it worse. Man, my grandma beat me with a wooden spoon. That ain't that bad. The spoon was 2 foot tall.
A hairbrush, a switch. You had to choose your own switch.
Yeah, Spotswater. I've had all of them. I've run together. But see, right there, hear that joy, hear that cheerfulness. Most people like, y'all was abused. I mean, in most cases, we kind of deserved it. We didn't listen, or we did so we had no business doing it. We got caught. So we learned, listen. And if you take the risk of not listening, make sure you don't get caught.
Right.
And if you get caught, take your ass whooping take your ass whooping on the chin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They say a hard head makes what?
Makes a soft ass.
behind.
And speaking of, yeah, go ahead, teacher.
It teaches you to think. It teaches you to think. Now, there are some degrees where people go overboard with, chaining their kids up in the basement and starving. And, there's extreme. Those people are sick. But the average whipping, we got whippings. My grandmother was the whip warden, okay? And my mother was a little softer, but she could get it in too. And I personally am not on a therapist's couch talking about my mama whipped me. I'm not. I don't have
a college degree. She whipped me into a college degree and a good job of being a freaking professor at a college.
Right. But the purpose of a parent. The purpose of a parent is to make that child a viable citizen that they can be independent on their own. That's the whole purpose of a parent. That's it.
And for me to elaborate on Joe Jackson, and it just dawned on me, look, the spirits is working through me right now.
Exactly, Keith.
Look at what Joe Jackson, other than them producing the greatest group of all time, look at what else they produce. Michael Jackson. People don't understand. Michael Jackson was a brilliant businessman. I didn't even know he bought a freaking British channel network.
Half of Sony.
Mm-hmm.
On top of his own masters, on top of the masters of the Beatles. So his masters, the Beatles masters, and half of Sony masters. I mean, half of the artists that work for them, he owns them. And he owned them at a time where he wasn't even signed to Sony.
Yep. and the crazy thing about it was you had the media who kept saying that he was broke. He was spending money on this and spending money on that. Michael Jackson surrounded himself around business-minded people. And people also don't understand he was very conscious. I forgot somebody, I think it was Chuck D from I probably got it wrong. From Public Enemy. If that's his name, Chuck D.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I got it right. I think it was him. He was invited to go to Michael Jackson's house, and he saw the books that Michael had. I think he had a book about Malcolm X, and he was surprised to see all these like black conscious books that he had, and he was just surprised. But I'm saying this. Michael Jackson learned that from his father, even though Joe Jackson and Michael Jackson had a strange relationship, but the respect was there. And that he learned a lot from his father about how to make the money, as we say it nowadays, how to grab the bag and grab more bags and build upon it. And then Michael Jackson went on the spree of buying a network from, I think it was New Zealand or Great Britain or wherever. And then him buying the Beatles catalog, and then owning his own masters, and then owning half of Sony. And not to mention, are we going to forget Never Neverland? His own amusement park.
How many niggas can say they got their own theme park? How many folk, period, let alone black people?
Oh my! And the thing is, Disney was about to sue him for that because because Neverland was taking away the business from Disneyland.
But think about it though. Just let's think about that for a moment. That is like the ultimate baller black parent move. Mama, I want to go to Disney World. The hell with that Disney World. We go to Uncle Michael's house. He got Neverland in the backyard. What the hell you talking about? Waste money on? Why the hell we gonna waste money on Disney World? You got a perfectly good uncle with his own. Why don't he go to the damn county fair no more, state fair? Your uncle got his own amusement park. What the hell you think you doing? You about to spend the whole summer over there.
Michael Jackson net worth is $700 million.
That's probably current. And he's been dead for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
Right. And that's another thing I said. For a man, a dead man, he's still making money in his grave. He was a bad mama jamma.
Yes.
You know
Making
who else
money
still
in his
making money off
grave.
their grave?
Who's that?
You know who else? Prince.
Prince. Let me look at Prince network. So the reason why I'm bringing these people up, they found a way to make money off of themselves and off the culture rather than going through somebody else. Like with Megan Thee Stallion, I feel so sorry for her because I'm like this. If you transcend than just America, but globally, you should be making a hell of a lot more money. This is this is just coming from me. She should be worth at least $100 million right now. She's all over social media, not just some, viral video. She have made hits upon hits, collaborations that went to #1. She got
I
a
wouldn't
dance
give her that
craze.
much, but I give her respectable, including endorsements and appearances and everything like that. I give her like a good half of that 50, 60 mil that she should have netted by now. And somebody else we forgot to talk about is Ray Charles. He was one of the first Black artists to demand and get guaranteed control of his masters before he signed the paperwork. I'm not signing this contract unless it's stated and guaranteed that my masters are my masters. I made this music. I'm the one making y'all this money. So when I leave, y'all can keep the residual money or whatever, but the masters come with me.
Mm-hmm. And you want to know who else was an undercover G2? And she probably knows this. Aretha Franklin, rest her soul.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Aretha Franklin. I can't believe I found this out. Aretha Franklin, before the shows, she will always tell the promoter, give me my money up front. And she would have somebody that she trusted. I think it was one of her bodyguards, or I think a family member, but I'm just going to say bodyguard. If I got it wrong, I'm sorry. To get the money, and then she will perform. And I'm sitting there, I was like, Aretha Franklin? She was a G? Straight up.
What I understand, what I have understood about that, she would get her money in cash and she would put it in her purse and keep her purse on stage with her as she performed.
And I was like, my jaw dropped.
Me feel. I can just see that right there. Clutching the purse. You make me feel like a natural. I think she's taking it to a man. She's taking it to that purse. She got 50 cents in that purse right now. She is singing to that purse right now. That's what's making her feel like a natural woman.
Why is she patting her? Why is she patting her left breast? Everybody in the back there laugh like, yeah, we know why.
No, all the black folks know. All the black folks know. That's a rich titty right there.
Just sitting there like, yeah, baby.
This good milk.
That's petty, right? You can't get going to milk like this. I mean, shoot. When I found out about that about Aretha Franklin, I was like, oh my God. But who?
Yeah, because they would perform and then they say, well, we don't have any money for you. They would cheat them out of their money. No, you're not gonna cheat me.
Aretha was like, you'll give me my money. Oh, we in the band, we're just gonna pack up and go. That is crazy.
Like, what's taking her so long? She in the back, count it again.
I bet that be $1 short.
Then she started weighing it. Then she started weighing it like, I said all hundreds. Do it over.
So I did look up the Prince net worth. His net worth is $300 million. Now Prince, he had to, unlike Michael Jackson. Yeah, unlike Michael Jackson, he had to fight for his for a while.
But
and then when he finally got it,
check that status. Depending on how his estate does it. if they're smart enough and they keep it, because he won his catalog back, and Prince had the most extensive and most voluminous catalog of music compiled of any artist ever. To put that into context, if you think about Purple Rain, and then you think about Graffiti Bridge, he dropped like 2 albums in between those 2 albums. So for every album that you knew of, he had like 2 to 3 of them in the cut. Just like if you really a fan and you fuck with me, you'll find them. Like he had my uncle is a diehard Prince fan, and when he saw the actual collection, he was looking like a kid looking at like baseball cards. Like, I don't have this one. I didn't even know this one existed. Oh my God, this one came out when? Wow.
I'm telling you, I mean, but these artists that we're talking about found a way to not let the outside influence their money. And we know that Aretha Franklin, she gave back to her community. Michael Jackson, he definitely gave back to the community. Definitely, if there were kids out in the street without no damn food, Michael Jackson's gonna be there. He's gonna donate. Then you had Ray Charles, you know, he gave back. I mean, you got all these, but here's the sad thing. This is from the past. That's the crazy thing. These are from the past. And Prince, he was giving money away back to the community and all that stuff. Now, Prince was very much, he was low key about it. He was extremely low key. But for me, when I see these young artists coming out now and they doing their thing, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna hate on their craft or anything like that. Only time I see them give back to the community is when they have a camera in front of their face. Like anybody, like I'm gonna have to throw them on the bus, the Amigos. It's great nowadays. They sitting there saying everybody should go out and vote. But before that, they was giving out Christmas turkeys to their communities and all that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, anybody can do that. Everybody done it. Which goes back to thinking outside the box. Y'all not gonna be doing this mess forever. Why not help out that doo-wop group or that one group that's actually, you know, trying to get into the game? Give them advice. I'm not saying give them a record deal or anything like that. Give them advice, what they need, which actually keep the flow of the money and the knowledge within the community. But that's just me talking.
Also keeps the profitability margin high in your favor, because when you do things like that, they come off very philanthropic, very altruistic. People always want to come, especially if you say something well said and well articulated, you might end up turning into a new hustle, being a motivational speaker.
Yeah, and
all because you just, hey, I'm gonna give you this little bit of the game, break it down so you can understand it. And if people understand it well enough, they'll definitely want you to speak to others, right, in the same form and fashion. And then
excuse me, B.
No, go ahead.
I'm thinking about what you're saying, and it sounds good. But I had an experience that made me start thinking another way, because I used to have that idea and that thought. And that movie with Empire, Lucius Lyons.
I know you're talking Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow, okay? Hustle and Flow, every time I watch it, it makes me hungry to do my passion. And in my field of work, I am realizing when I first started, I didn't know who the players were. And when I got in the game, so to speak, I recognized who all the players were, and that is actually a very small circle worldwide. And individual came to me. Many people come to me, but this particular individual came to me and won my trust. And they talked a good game, and he was saying all the right things. And there was some red flags that I didn't filter. And in the transaction, he wanted me to connect him to the people in the game. And what I realized in the midst of the transaction, I had to back it up, shut it down, and cut him off, because I realized he was not in the game. Because if you're in the game, truly, it's your passion. You know everybody that you need to know. You don't have to ask for a hookup or go through and have somebody introduce you. Terrence Howard, yes, thank you. You're in the game, and people are watching you, and they're calling upon you because you have proven yourself. I'm just announcing to you all that I'm going to Tanzania next month. And they called me, and they gave me the terms, and it's all expenses paid.
All right.
Because what? I'm in the game. And these people heard about me. They never met me, but they're willing to put down the bucks for me. I learned a valuable lesson. And my point is, when you have a passion, it's going to drive you to the center. And the universe is going to get behind you and connect you with everybody you need to be connected to make it manifest and come to pass.
Hey, Tish, you don't have to go through the government. You don't have to work out a plan or.
I'm telling you. Sometimes when I look at my life, they talk about that black girl magic. I have that black girl magic.
Yes, you do.
Even this morning, when they told me that they wanted me to come to Tanzania and they sent my itinerary to me, until I get a plane ticket, it's not even real. They sent me my plane ticket in the mail, and the first thing I said, I need to buy me a new purse for this trip. And I go to a luncheon today, and I win a Michael Kors purse. That's black girl magic. That's black girl magic.
But teach. Remember, you got to send it to your congressman. You got to call them and make sure.
and get this. I am part of the delegation with the culture and art that's going to have an audience with the president of Tanzania.
Oh, dang.
Black girl magic.
Basically saying she don't need no plan. She don't need no. Ladies, I'm sorry.
You are not first.
If y'all have not tuned into the last show, if you're to the last show, we advise you to tune into the last show. we just make a little fun. We just make a little fun. It's no disrespect, but
no.
You had to get no plan. We got everything figured out.
What I'm saying is, the adage that says where there is a will, there is a way. You have to have a will. You have to have a drive. You have to have passion, and that's going to put you everywhere you need to be. In my lifetime, I have sat with 6 presidents, 6 different presidents, 6 different countries. Did I plan it? No. But my mission, that some people like to say is just rhetoric, my mission puts me in front of these people.
I'm in tears. I'm sorry.
So what I'm saying in terms of helping people, people have to first help themselves. Not for a hookup, but they have to have a plan and working that plan, doing whatever you can to make things happen. Cast your seeds out. When I was the second grade? When I was in the second grade, I had a teacher named Miss Jordan. I wish I knew what her first name was, but her name was Mrs. Jordan. And she was an older lady then. And she would have bell work. With the first 5 minutes, she would put a quote on the board, and we would have to meditate upon that quote and figure out what that quote was saying. And one of the quotes that she put on the board, which is popular, cast your dreams among the stars. You don't know where they may fall, but at least it may land on the moon. Okay, so we had to think about that. Cast your seeds. Cast your seeds and let them sprout up. Let them grow. Nurture them. And it will produce your passion. It will produce your financier. It will produce your promoter. It will produce your writer. It will produce everything you need to go where your destiny is taking you. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about your destiny, those that actively get into their life and those that don't. I want to share one more quote, then I'm going to, let you all talk.
Don't worry, I'm trying.
This thought has been in my mind, and it says, are you alive in your life? Think about it. Are you alive in your life?
That's deep.
Are you just living day by day? God wake you up and you go through the motions because your body is alive. You eat, you drink, you work, come home. But are you alive? What quality of life do you give yourself each and every day?
Damn.
And sometimes when I don't feel so great, I say, God, I want to be alive in my life. I don't want to be dead in my life. I want to be alive in my life. And even this morning, every time the sun comes up, I say, thank you for another day. And as the sun rises, release its gifts unto me and allow me to receive those gifts and appreciate the gifts of the day. Then I got a Michael Kors first. And it's a trip.
And you're going to Tanzania.
And we're going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And I hope I can come live.
Oh, hey, look, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. But so with all that being said, what about doing business with somebody that don't look like you, mainly with white folks? Because Tish, you hit the nail on the head about us not trusting us, and that if it's a white man or a white woman is a part of it, or a Jewish person that's a part of it, we're like, yes, I know we're gonna get the money, I'm definitely gonna get the bag and all that stuff. Why is that an issue? Because I think that's a separate issue altogether right there, where for one end, we don't trust each other to do business, but we will trust to do business with a Jewish person or a white man or a white woman. Why is that so?
It's not a true trust. It's more of a necessary trust. We trust them because we know they're closer to that money than we are. So if I'm going to trust anyone in my pursuit of the profit, it probably comes off a little better trusting the Jews, who are perceived as being the most attainable and accessible to money. Get one of them on my team, or get close to one like that. I think that's the kind of thought process. Is more of like, it's like, I'll trust you because I know you're close. I know you to connect. You're my connect to get to. So I trust you for the time I feel I need to trust you.
And I think that's a blind and a false trust. I think the same filter that you would give to yourself should be the same filter that you give to others. Because what I have seen is individuals, say the artist, he has 2 nickels, and that promoter or producer, he might just have a penny. But he knows how to take a couple of artists, make them look good and make some money. And when the money come in, he cut them off 3 nickels and he keep the whole $1. Mm-hmm. So it comes off as, yeah, he the man, he the money man. But he's not going to tell you, I'm just as broke, I'm broker than you are. He's not going to tell you that. He is the master of disguise. And that's why he can produce a good agent, because that is his skill, to sell the product. And that is the artist. So it's a bamboozle, but it's a feel-good bamboozle because he brings me the money. All I want to know is on Friday or whatever the established pay date is, or after the show, I got my money. But he didn't know that this man didn't even have the money in the beginning. He used you to get the money. So it's a false belief. It's a false belief, but in every situation, you just have to have the filters and make sure that you're getting a fair share of the deal and not getting cheated out of the deal. And that's just all business. No matter what color skin it is, everything has to go through a filter.
Yeah, because I remember I was watching
checked out.
Yeah, because I was actually watching a documentary. Well, I don't think it was a documentary or maybe a movie. It was one or two. And I heard one of the artists, black artists, like, man, I don't want this black money. I want that white money. I want that real money, because that's the money gonna keep coming in. Because if I get up on stage, they're gonna pay me. But if I go on the black stage, it's like they're gonna pay me, But one thing, whenever I was watching a documentary or a freaking show, I'm sorry, I don't know. It was one of the two. But you got people like Little Richard, who said that he was making all his money on the Chitlin circuit. And for all y'all don't know anything about the Chitlin circuit, that's mainly tours down the south that you won't see Frank Sinatra. They still do Chitlin circuit today, which actually you make a lot of money.
It's more seen in the Broadway theater industry, where the Chitlin circuit still exists in the club scene.
Mm-hmm. And people make a lot of money hand over fist down there because they know people will turn out and see them. They may not be the big vineyards like I would say a Madison Square Garden or here, even though they changed the name from the Key Arena. But they have vineyards that like little clubs, maybe little civic centers and all that stuff. And you got locals that will go down there.
They were just front yards.
Yeah, front yards.
Alleys.
Alleys, freaking like bars that's way out in the freaking country that's next to a freaking pigsty and all that stuff. They will go and perform and they will be making money hand over freaking fist. But mainly
we're talking about stacks.
Right.
We're talking about a couple $100. Like, I've been to a club smaller than my living room.
Yeah.
And they paid Bone Crusher $10,000. And that club was full to the brim. And they got their $10,000 to pay this man to show up there.
And the crazy thing is, you got definitely a lot of younger artists. It was like they thinking like, okay, I got it down here, but I want that one agent from the big record labels or that one production from Warner Brothers to come see this so I can really be on that mainstream, which we all know white, so I can really make that billions and millions of dollars. What do y'all say about those artists or that entrepreneur that has that type of mindset? Because it's obvious.
It's silly, it's trivial, it's counterproductive. And even if you do find some kind of success, it will never be the true success that you were entitled to.
I think it's an issue of validation. I may be great in the Black community, but I can be greater if white folks recognize me. So it comes down to validation and a feeling of their self-worth. And part of that is our racial history. Even in Africa, an artist can go to the highest heights in their country. But in some circles, until they can break over to the American market, they're just, they're good. And yes, he's our greatest singer, but nobody knows him outside of our country.
I'll take it.
So when he crosses over, pardon me?
I was like, go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
So it comes to validation and self-worth. Do you think that you're at your greatest because other people not like you recognize you? Or are you great because you're great?
And to add to that, though, like when you talk about the global versus American appeal, like when it comes to music, you have groups that, like, take for example the group Aha. They did the song "Take on Me" back in the '80s. In America, they're considered as a one-hit wonder. Little unbeknownst to most Americans, they have been continuously touring and dropping material 30 years after America knew them, still selling out thousands of seat arenas and stadiums 30, 40 years later, when we're sitting here thinking, oh, they ain't even doing nothing. These dudes probably got regular jobs now. They probably know normal people now. Nah, these cats still out here getting. They are the masters of their craft, but like T said, because they're not continuously known in America or not known in America at all, the perception is you're not doing anything. And it's also a question of what kind of money are you trying to make? Like, how are you really trying to live? Because you have to rely on other people to get to a certain point. Especially if all you have is the fact that you can sing and you look good, or you look good and you can dance and hold a note, and that's all you really bring it to the table, then you can't expect a whole lot in return. A better way to say it is, if we all having a potluck and I only come in there with a 2-liter and some utensils with no paper plates, and there's a 2-liter that nobody really particularly likes, like it ain't really name branded, like it'll do in the pinch. Like, do y'all honestly, in y'all minds, y'all gonna be thinking this nigga better not eat?
Yes.
Let's be real. He better not eat at my table. This nigga ain't bring nothing to the table. He better not fix his brain synapses to think of the inclination to want to fix a plate.
Or bring a like an 8-piece chicken for KFC and then expect this is gonna eat. Happened to me before. Unfortunately, it happened at the funeral.
So you gotta have that mentality. Like, if that's all you bring to the table, and you want this big ass amount of money, then you're gonna have to go through some shit to get it. But you're gonna have to work, but it ain't gonna be the type of work you're gonna enjoy, and you're not really gonna get your money's worth. Versus you come to the table well prepared with everything set up more in your favor. You know, if she, like you say Megan, for example, if Megan would have came into the situation showcasing that not only she could rap, not only she can, you know, have some kind of lyrical content, she had a appealing look for market. She knew how to carry herself, and also she had some business acumen and knowledge of herself. She wouldn't have got stuck with the deal she got stuck with, because she'd have came into the situation with titles like songwriter and composer and arrangement. And you feel what I'm saying? She'd have got that back end money guaranteed. So you know she getting money now when you see her out here doing these things. And you know that money is not coming out of her pocket. Because a lot of these artists that you see them doing all this extravagant stuff in the videos and on tour and stuff, they come out of their pocket.
That's true.
The label not paying for that. So you talk about how they got money.
It's their business.
Yeah.
They not, most of it's not written off on taxes either. It's just flat out they pocket.
And one person I forgot, rest his soul. I'm still not over that he passed away. I still want to believe that he's still alive. James Brown. Now I know everybody saw that movie Get Up. Even though I think his net worth right now, his net worth is right now is $100 million right now. But James Brown, he was a very
shrewd businessman.
Tough businessman. There were stories by my boy Bootsy Collins. Wind me up, baby. That's my dog right there. Who he will literally, who's a bass player, by the way. He literally, because he started, that's where his career started off, was being back up to James Brown. When he went to ask for a raise, James Brown was just like, what? Ask you what raise? Like he looking at him. Yeah. He looking at him. Yeah, like who you ask for money? Like, rather than you looking at him like you owe me some money, he's looking at you like you owe him some money. And not to mention, he did the Ike Turner thing before Ike Turner was doing it, the $5 fine. Because they say every time, like, one of the, you know, you had one of those nights where you miss a tune or you miss a step and all that stuff. James Brown would do this. $5. Every time you hear our tune or you get out of step, he does this. That means that's $5, or how many times he does, that's off your paycheck. James Brown, I was like, wow, James Brown was like that. But then again, you got to understand his upbringing. You know, his mom wasn't there. His dad was very abusive, and he basically had to, you know, come up. He was adopted.
He's a man he was a child who had nothing. So as a man, he wants it all, and he will have it all.
Right. But, and then also he did some bad dealings, but then also he worked with a Jewish man who actually helped him out to improve his brand and also to make a whole lot of money. And I was like, damn, like majority of stuff that's going on right now, like how he advertised on the radio, like he literally would play the DJs to advertise where he's going to be and all that stuff. That's why you got so much advertisement going on, you know, with this show happening right now. That was all James Brown. Didn't know that. But at the same time, this is somebody you don't want to do business with whatsoever. Definitely if you're working with them and you see him doing this, like, yeah, what's up there? I give you 5, James. I give you 5. And you
definitely get everything. Definitely get everything on paper.
That was discipline, though. That was a form of discipline to, you know, I don't want any money, so it made you concentrate harder. It made you concentrate more and made you more efficient.
Yeah,
also, James Brown taught his own timing. A lot of folks don't, like, you watched the movie, that was true.
On the
he was doing it from his head. So, like, he saw everything like Beethoven, but could not articulate it. He couldn't tell you we start from 3/4 adagio on 1. He's just like, we're going high pitch on 1, like hit like
on the 1.
And he's gonna force, like, I can't say it, but I got enough in me to get it out there, and you're going to understand me because you're skilled enough to play it. So you're going to I have the same problem. So I understand James a lot. So it's like, I can't tell you what note we in, but I'm gonna sing that note. So organist, shut up and listen to where I'm at, and we can get this thing going.
I mean, even Prince and Michael Jackson, I think they one of the only two after James Brown to do on the 1. Because every time you hear Prince on the 1,
because it's instant high energy.
Yeah,
because it's instant. It's like on the 1, boom. Ooh.
Yeah, I
don't even know what this song is, but I want to listen.
Right, and then Michael Jackson didn't even have to say it. Michael Jackson perfected to the point where he hit it into his like music that you couldn't even tell. You thought it was from him, but if you actually know music and actually listen to the music and know the history, you'd be like, "Yo, that's from James Brown." He just perfected it to make it seem like it was his. Other than Prince, like on the 1. Or all the way to the green grass grows and just I'm like, damn, Prince, like damn, MJ. But
look, I know this is between Mike and Prince. I gotta say this between Mike and Prince. Prince may take your girl, but Mike gonna have your girl getting carted off on the stretcher because she ain't even gonna make it to the beginning of the show. Mike walk out there and just pose. And don't look at nobody. Just look up at the heavens. And you just see people in the front row. The only time I've ever seen that type of power is in like the final hours of a good revival. And like it's a good sermon. Like you damn near like Benny Hinn when he just pointing at people like only Mike could do that. Mike could do that, wouldn't say nothing. That they call that the Holy Spirit. The boy got the power.
Yes, he does.
He got that blessing.
But also one thing I forgot about James Brown, and we also coming to the end of the show. He had influence. Everybody, if y'all get a chance, if y'all got Showtime, y'all need to. I forgot what that damn show is. It's actually an animated series of musicians, which they did on James Brown. Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but that's how I got the name right now. But I know you're talking about. But that's how I got majority of the story. So one of the stories is James Brown was very influential, definitely in politics. That one of his band members was trying to avoid the war, and he was part of James Brown band. So James Brown made a call to Thurgood Marshall, who at the time was a Supreme Court judge, which, ladies and gentlemen, y'all need to be watching the hearings. Just want to put that out there. He brought him to a show, and Thurgood Marshall introduced himself, and he said, "What's your issue, son?" And He said, "Okay, I want you to go down to your They used to have a thing called like a war counselor, which they don't call it no more. They just call it like National Guard recruiters, Air Force recruiters, whatever." He went there, and they took him off the roll. And because of James Brown influence, that FBI director, y'all remember his name? If I can see his
Hoover.
His face. Hoover put James Brown on the most wanted list. I won't say most wanted list, but
yeah, because he said it was like, hold on, this nigga can make niggas not go to war, but then the ones we want to go to war. That nigga got too much power.
Yeah, took it away. They put him on a list. It wasn't the most wanted list, but he did put him on a list that actually hurt James Brown influence in the mainstream, and that's practically what this downfall is.
So they blacklisted him.
Yeah, blacklisted. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah,
Basically,
and now
all you gotta do is say we looking at you for something. We can't say what because we the government, but we just want you to know, as the government, they just tell the whole world that, like, hey, America, we are the government. We just want to tell you that James Brown, hey, y'all know the one we talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good evening.
And with that being said, since we came down to the end of the show and nobody didn't yell at each other, I think the only time we was yelling at each other is when we was like busting out laughing and enjoying Teach going to another country, going through the government and climbing up.
Is that a new one, Teach? Or are you revisiting?
No, this was my very first time going to this country. So it's a
that's
whole new
another one
adventure.
So
that's another one on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Teach, you should recall for us so we know when everything goes down here. Oh, she didn't hear me. Hey, Teach,
I didn't hear you.
Hey, Teach, do some recall for us. So just in case if everything goes down here, we know where to go. I'm gonna get it on the next.
I will. But you know, let's be fair. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, good, bad, or indifferent.
Exactly.
How do we receive them? The thing is that in order to have diversity, you must allow people to think as they will.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and that's the point I made on my opening statement. But I
right.
I thought it was kind of funny, give a little chuckle here.
Well, I don't know. As a teacher, my classroom was diverse, and I had to stand in the middle somewhere and allow the students from diverse backgrounds to express their views. I had to let them feel free, and not hold back their ideals because I had a certain perspective. And that's how I learned and I grew, by allowing them to tell me that their father or mother's in the KKK. Had I just talk, I would have never known who was in front of me. So you let people express their views. That's how you get to know them, when they talk.
Don't worry, I was in your class. there were times where I would
love to be in that conversation when the white kid was like, "Yeah, my dad's part of the Klan."
It was time in the classroom where I would teach. Well, I really wanted.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Honestly, I probably would look at them like, "Word." Well,
I don't remember.
Was it in Kentucky or was it back at your neck of the woods, Teach?
It was in Ohio and Kentucky.
Kentucky, I can imagine. Ohio, some would say surprising, but Ohio.
That's why you let them talk. That's why you let them talk. But anyway, I remember a class. I don't know if this was your class, Morris, but wow. Okay, I don't know which class. I can't remember which class it was, but the class got out at 1:00, and I dismissed class. But this class was so lively. It was almost 4:00 before they left.
Oh, snap.
Were you in that class, Morris?
I think so.
You weren't in that class?
No.
You think so?
Yeah, I was in that class. I believe we was up there. We be talking, and time will already elapsed. Like
I thought it was, I thought it would last, 5-10 minutes, but then somebody else interjected something and something else, and then an hour went by, and then another hour went by, and by the time it was 3:40, I'm like, look, I got to go. Y'all can stay here and keep talking, but I have to go.
Yeah, you literally.
But it stirred up people's mind. They had questions and they wanted to talk. So you allow that atmosphere for everyone to be free.
Mhm.
Whether you agree with them or not, you allow that atmosphere. And you don't have to wear your feelings on the sleeve if they say something that's contrary to what you believe or contrary to what you know. What really my position is, everybody has an opinion. And they're speaking, unless they can disprove what I already believe, they're just words up in the air.
I'm still sticking with the chuckle, but other than that, we're gonna go in and jump into we're gonna jump into these final thoughts. Beast Johnson, go ahead, give us the lead once I find it. Oh, here we go.
Learn to take a joke. Not everything's got to be serious. And even when the stuff is serious, a little levity will help transition the emotions and come to a peaceful reconciliation, or at least compromise. You ain't got to like what people say. You just have to respect the fact that they were brave enough and bold enough to say it, especially if they say it to your face. But learn to take a joke sometimes. I'm pretty sure at some point somebody watching the show has had something funny to say about me. And you're probably right, whatever the joke was. I don't know, but whatever it is, yeah, I'll take it. I can laugh at myself just like I'm laughing at anybody else. There's nothing wrong with that. Makes me an easy, affable person to deal with. If I can laugh at myself, shoot, I'm cool to be around. I could definitely laugh at you, and in turn, you can learn to laugh at yourself because you're seeing someone that knows how to laugh at themselves. So learn to take a joke. Might actually help you get to the point you're trying to get to. And that's my final thought. Thank y'all for watching.
Thank you, Beast Johnson. My final thought is this, and it's going back to voting. Not even more so to voting, but our society. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't realize it, our America is literally burning. It's not Mississippi burning. America is burning. It is time. If we want a time for us to really make an impact in this world, to be heard and really put our foot down on the ground and do something, now is the time. Right now, they're about to put in a justice who don't give a damn about abortion, who don't give a damn about you being in health, having any health care, who needs a mirror in front of her to realize she's a woman, because she don't care anything about your women's rights. And I promise you, just because there's a black justice, she ain't gonna give a damn about me. This is why voting is important. This is why if you're not getting what you want and you ain't doing nothing about it, you have no right. Yes, I said you have no right to complain. You should understand that we all are in this together, if you believe it or not. You could be the whitest of whites. You could be the blackest of blacks. You could be the Puerto Ricans of all Puerto Ricans. But we in this together. We all on the same ship. It rocks to the left. It rocks to the right. But when this ship gets a hole and it starts to sink, it's not, oh, well, the blacks is on the black side. That's their problem. Realize once that side is underwater, guess whose side is next? We all in this together. You may not like me, I may not like you. But when it comes to our survival, when it comes to our issues, our policies, a compromise has to be made, regardless. Because what affects me affects you. No matter if this is a black agenda or a white agenda, it's going to affect anybody, everybody in some type of way, a good way or a bad way. We in this together, y'all. And you just can't be sitting in the corner not to do anything. Like going back to what Beast Johnson said. You can't expect to come to a cookout, expect to eat when you bring nothing. And that's why I see voting as. It's going to a cookout. When teachers expected to bring the potato salad with no raisins, Beast Johnson is expected to bring all the beer, a couple of the 40s for the fellas, because you know we're going to be out on the side probably playing some bones, playing some spades and some Texas Hold'em. And then me, I'm bringing all the freaking chips, cookies for the kids. Chips, cookies, and promise to bring all the aunties. But if you come to the cookout with your badass kids and your wife who just don't know how to act, and that crazy old aunt and that freaking thing she called a freaking wheelchair, who is rude to the kids and want the attention on her, you think you're going to get fed? Don't you bring your ass to my cookout, because I will embarrass you real quick. And that's how we should do to people when they don't vote and then they think they can come to the table and eat, or in other words, complain what is going on in society. And like I said in the opening statements, the reason why this country is just as fucked as it is right now is because you started not to vote. So remember, don't bring your ass to my cookout and you don't have nothing to bring, because I will embarrass you. And that's my final thought.
We are nearing the election, and many states have started the early voting. And it's very discouraging, the things that I've been seeing. And I want to encourage those that are getting out to vote to be strong. And I don't know if it's, I don't know how to characterize this. I have never, in my history of voting, I have never waited more than 20 minutes to vote. And that's the, you know, the major election. And primary elections in and out. So I have seen reports where people have stood in line 11 hours. Others 3 hours and 50 minutes, 4 hours, 6 hours. And the least amount of time that I've seen today, someone stood in line in Georgia. They said they stood in line for 40 minutes. That was the least amount of time. I think that's reasonable. Voter suppression is real. I believe it's in the state of Texas where they signed into law that they will only provide one ballot box per county. And this one particular county has 4.7 million voters. So that means it's very discouraging They had people in line to drop off their ballots. Seriously, however big that ballot box is, it cannot hold 4.7 million votes. So when it fills up, I would just be curious. When it fills up, what is the process to take those votes out and empty out the box so the next one can put it in? So these are clear indicators of voter suppression. Also in the state of Georgia, they said that it was 13 ballot boxes or voting stalls, but only one was working, and people were wrapped around the building. And so this is, again, voter suppression, making it difficult for the voters to vote. There was a wild card postal service worker that decided to throw the Democratic ballots, or what he believed to be Democratic ballots, into the river, interfering with the vote. Your vote counts. It only counts if you make it count. It only counts if you cast your ballot. And I strongly urge each and every one of you to, if you don't want to vote for the president, okay. But also know that it's the president that appoints Supreme Court justices that sit in that position until they either retire or meet their demise. And that Supreme Court justice is the one that metes out laws that filter back down into your local community. If you're choosing not to vote, you're choosing not to be an active citizen. But guarantee you, I don't know you, but you're receiving the benefits that come from voting. You're receiving benefits indirectly. So I see you as a cheater and a taker and not a giver. So that is my final thought. I will say, and this is Kiswahili, which I have to brush up on it for my upcoming trip. Kwaheri ya kukaona. Goodbye until we meet again.
See, this is why I have Teach at the end of the, to close out the show, because she know how to close out the show. I can't follow her up. But other than that, I'd like to thank my panel. Once again, realcheddarboypopcorn.com. Once again, realcheddarboypopcorn.com. New flavors. He got the new cheese pizza flavor. Also, he just opened up his store. I'm actually going to reach out to him tomorrow. Mr. Jones, if you're watching right now, congratulations once again on your show. I'm going to reach out for him. Also, McCary, hopefully you enjoying your shopping spree. Hope you're enjoying all that stuff, because I'm going to start creating some more merchandise. And then also I got to get with y'all when y'all free on some merchandise and what y'all want to create and all that stuff. But other than that, another great show. Is everybody going to be able to come in on Friday?
Yes.
And teach?
I believe so. Yeah, because my mother asked me to take a road trip. So I might. Yes.
Okay. All right. But you can tell your mama she can be a part of the show too, because she was so lively before the show and all that stuff. Other than that, but ladies and gentlemen, we can go ahead and head on out. Once again, for myself, your host, Donnell Monte Morris, and Nita Joe, aka Teach, and Beast Johnson. Y'all have a good night. You hear? And once again, please go out and vote.
And vote.
Vote. Vote. Vote.
Vote. Vote.
Because like I said, it's like cookout. Yeah. Because it's like, come to my cookout. Your ass will get called out if you ain't bringing nothing. You bring all those badass kids and your woman that's don't even have no business talking about other people's stuff and knowing that she live in a glass house. So on that, please go out there and vote. And there's a disease out there. Please wear a damn mask. Don't be a Karen or Chad, whatever they call them. Catch y'all later.
Don't be a douche.
Catch y'all later. Bye-bye.